Well, hello there. My name is Mark Miles, and as many of you know, I love helping trainers, presenters, facilitators, whatever you might call yourself in a place of influence, really help their presenting game go to the next level. Now, as many of you would have experienced over the last maybe year, 2 years, there has been a pretty much a rapid progression from taking face-to-face training onto the Zoom environment or the online delivery space. So essentially, trainers who were exceptionally good at the face-to-face environment had to make the mental shift to be able to deliver as effectively online. And that's really challenged a lot of people because they'd have to get used to delivering on new systems, new platforms, and even a new way of thinking about presenting itself. And so today I just want to do a quick video and go over 7 tips or 7 things that you really need to think about if you're going to present effectively online. Now, certainly my journey has been what I just said. I was very comfortable in the face-to-face training environment. I was very comfortable running workshops and running groups of around 5 people all the way up to 80, if not 120 people in a room. And I was very comfortable with that. But then yes, COVID hit, and I was suddenly pushed onto the online platform, and I had to get used to Zoom. I had to get used to be able to engage people online. And even though I was quite comfortable as a public speaker, looking into the camera lens, now that was a challenge. That was a challenge. But the thing is, I made the commitment. I made the decision. If I'm going to be good there, I need to be able to transfer those skills over to here and be able to teach other people how to do it as well. Because a lot of people have a lot of tech fear, so to speak, and a lot of fear that presents them from being amazing in the online space as well. And the more you get used to platforms, the specific platforms like Zoom or Teams or even others, the more confident you're going to feel. So grab a pen, get ready, and start to write some of these tips down because lo and behold, you're probably going to be faced with the reality of taking one of your great workshops and taking it online, if not in the near distant future. So let's get into it. So, number one, I really want you to think about eye contact. I want you to think about eye contact. Now, when you are delivering online, it is critically important that you are looking consistently at that camera lens, okay? And where your eyes look as you're delivering training online is critically important, okay? And it takes mental discipline to look at that camera lens and make sure that your eyes are focused in the right place. Now, next thing I will say, number two, is the chat box. Now, this conversation that we're going to have today is more so about Zoom, okay? And generally, all platforms, when you're delivering online, do have some form of chat function in its space. Now, I love the chat box. I love it. I love it. I love it because it is the most immediate way to engage an audience. So, one of the best things that you can do is get in the habit of saying things like, if you are ready, type ready in the chat box. For example, if XYZ has ever happened to you before, type yes in the chat box. If you are excited about what we are going to learn today, type excited in the chat box. And just by throwing in those in phrases and getting that engagement in with the audience, you're going to find that people spend a lot more attention and focus on what you are actually saying. The chat box I kind of see as my response that I want from an audience and my, I guess, direct medium to be able to do that. So it's kind of like if you were delivering a presentation and you said to the audience, all right, if you would like to achieve XYZ, raise your hand. Okay. And that kind of interaction with the audience and questioning and getting them reacting and responding to you as you are presenting. Now, the next thing though, number three is, and if you're writing these down, number three is tell people how you want them to respond. I can't say this once more, like enough. It is one of the most important things. And I see amateurs, trainers and presenters do this all the time. They'll say a question to the audience, such as, who here in the group today has ever experienced XYZ? Or who would like to be able to do whatever it might be? And then people sit there in the audience and they go, yeah, that's me, but how do I respond? Am I meant to unmute myself and tell people that that's me, am I meant to type it in the chat box? Am I meant to go up to the camera and smile and say, yeah, that's me, what am I meant to do? How am I meant to respond? So when you ask a question to your group that you are training and presenting to, it's critically important that you tell them how you want them to respond. And this can be a lot of fun. You can really engage an audience and you can say, all right, for example, if you have ever had if you've ever been going for a job, but you didn't get the job and you are really disappointed with your performance in the interview, put a sad face in the chat box. Or you could say, put a sad face up to the camera. Everyone do your sad face. And you can be really playful with it as you tell people how you want them to respond. Maybe you do a thumbs up, maybe you do a thumbs down, maybe you use the interactive features with the reactions in Zoom. I personally wouldn't, but that's just your choice, right? But the most important thing is you tell people how you want them to respond. Is it verbally? Tell them to unmute themselves and speak. Is it respond in the chat box? Is it respond in a funny way on the camera? Whatever it might be, all right? But you've got to tell people how you want them to respond. Next point, setup. Setup is critical, right? So me personally, I really like to have a really fast laptop, really fast internet, and I personally love to deliver online standing up. I love to have a stand-up desk. And lo and behold, a lot of the gurus out there, so to speak, Anthony Robbins, all these different people, they do present standing up. Now, you can present effectively sitting down. Absolutely, you can. But I just find that if you are delivering online, if you can stand up, it still gives you the possibility and the mediums to be able to gesture, to be able to really deliver your message powerfully, and to bring a lot more emotion into it because you can magnify the energy. All right, so it's something to think about. If you can set up your desk in a way where you can do a stand-up delivery, even better. Okay. If you can't do that, at least elevate your laptop so that the camera is at eye height. That's critically important. Okay, lighting, yep, that's important too. And you can really go quite far with microphones and all those different things. But as much as possible, if you can create a stand-up delivery format, that's going to be really great for you. Okay, next one is engagement. Now, whenever I talk about how to be a powerful presenter in a face-to-face environment, just the science of engagement doesn't change. The science of engagement doesn't change whether you're doing face-to-face or online delivery. Engagement. Let me ask you the question, what drives engagement? Now, I fundamentally say that engagement is response. Engagement is response. Engagement is how much is the audience responding back to you. So write this down. Variety creates engagement. Variety and suspense create engagement. Variety plus suspense equals engagement. Variety plus in suspense equals engagement. So as you are delivering online, I want to invite and encourage you to think about how can I create even more variety every time I deliver and every time I'm doing something. So for example, if you just did a breakout room, well, next you want to maybe do a research task, and maybe next you want to do a group share, and then maybe next you want to do a different breakout room, and maybe next in the breakout room you allocate different people to different groups, and maybe next you do something different. You see, what we need to understand the mentality side of things if we're delivering powerfully online is that it's the engagement of how we shift and change the energy through the session that creates the engagement. Now, as part of that though, I have a philosophy when I deliver online, and I highly recommend that you adopt this as well. The belief that no one gets left behind. No one gets left behind. No one gets left behind. And this is a critical, I guess, distinction between the face-to-face and the online environment. You see, if I want response from an audience and I say, all right, type in the chat box ready when you are ready, I am going to wait till everybody has typed in the word ready. Okay. And I'm not going to move on, because as soon as you have one or two people that think you are not going to wait for them, they are not going to engage and they're going to drop off. It is critically important that you have a mentality of, everyone, we are working together here. Everyone, I want to hear from you. And everyone, we're not moving on until you are staying part of the conversation. And it's a big difference between the online and face-to-face environment, because face-to-face, you could keep going on with your presentation regardless of where people are at. And that's okay. But in the online environment, in order to keep everybody unified and learning together, you've got to set up the expectation that we all move together as a team. And if you can develop and interweave that belief into how you deliver online, you're going to find your sessions are a lot more successful. Okay. So, and they can shift from entertainment to training or facilitating. So just to recap, number one was eye contact. Number two, get ready and get excited about using that chat box. That chat box is one of your best friends as a presenter. Number three is tell people how you want them to respond. Do you want it verbally? Do you want it thumbs up, thumbs down, smiles? All right. Do you want it in the chat box? Do you want people to unmute themselves and answer the question? Next is setup. Get your setup right and experiment with different things, different lighting, different heights, whatever it might be. Next, engagement. Remember, you've got to have the variety in there, and boredom is created by too much delivery in the same mode, i.e., delivering all PowerPoints or all something else. Right? It's the variety that creates the engagement and the suspense. All right. Next is definitely use breakout rooms, get good at them, and create the variety in how you deliver things. And last of all, definitely want to encourage you to think about, no one gets left behind. All right. No one ever gets left behind. And I really want to also invite and encourage you to play around with Zoom. I.e., you can get a free account. I'm not commissioned by Zoom in any way, shape, or form, but I encourage you to actually play with Zoom. Get comfortable setting up breakout rooms. Get comfortable using the different features and functions and being able to think on the spot, be innovative, be creative, and being able to shift through the different functions and be able to do it quickly. Okay, because if with speed you create professionalism. Okay, but if you're on Zoom and you're like, oh, how do I do that? Oh, I'm stuck, it's just not working right. You look unprofessional really quickly. Okay, so myself personally, I played around with it quite a bit. I watched a lot of videos on YouTube to try and work it out. I put in the time, put in the effort. And if you want to look professional, you've got to do the same thing. All right. So hopefully these tips were valuable for you. I highly recommend that you implement them because it will really take your online presenting game to the next level. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.